Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to create extremely clickable ads inside Google Ads so we can increase our click-through rate, increase our quality score, lower our cost per click, and get more leads overall so we can get more sales. And that's really what it's all about. And a lot of people ask me about why even bother with ads. Like if I'm getting some clicks, like what does it matter? And like I just said, essentially what we want to do is increase our expected click-through rate, which is a massive determining factor in quality score, which essentially gauges how much Google is going to charge us per click. And that in turn leads to how many leads we can get based off the price and how many sales we're going to acquire off of all of those leads. So very important to make sure these ads are created correctly and it makes people want to click on them. So first off, I did want to mention two things. One is, where should we aim for? And that's a very good question. A lot of people say, what should my click-through rate be? And there's a great document on WordStream. Look at all of the industry averages and the click-through rate on essentially what you should be aiming for. There's a whole bunch of them and everyone is different. But normally I recommend trying to beat this average. You want to be on the higher upper part of this because we're going to get a better quality score overall and we're going to get a lower cost per click if our click-through rate continues to rise and continues to increase. So always try and beat this, but this is a nice little guide of where our click-through rate should at least try and be. Now moving forward, if you don't want to create any of these headlines and you just are stressed for time and you need to get this going, we've created a little document called the Google Ads Done For You bundle, which comes with headlines, extensions, keywords, negatives, and essentially everything to make your life a little bit less stressful when coming up with all of these headlines and being creative and all that stuff. I know some people, they just really struggle with it. So if you want to check that out, the link for that is down below as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into our 4-step process of coming up with amazing clickable ads. And step one is simply identify the problem. And a lot of people get stumped on identifying the problem. And it's very, very simple. Identifying the problem is just essentially regurgitating what the person is looking for. So for example, I'm going to provide a moving company here. And as you can see, these are quite simple. Local moving experts looking for local movers. Essentially, you're just going to reflect whatever the question the customer asked was in a little bit nicer way. And this makes it feel like you understand their problem at a minute detail. What a lot of companies do is they use vague headlines. So they'll use, XYZ company, best HVAC. They'll just put things that really don't go after what the customer's problem actually is. They might have a heating repair problem, but if you just have a headline that says best HVAC company, it doesn't mesh very well. And it creates a little bit of a divide between what the customer is actually looking for and what you have to offer, which is not somewhere we want to be. We want to target the customer's problem as accurately as possible because the person who can answer this problem the best and the most accurately generally gets the click at the end of the day. So this is something super important to do. Now here's a little tip which is absolutely extraordinary, and I love using these things, and they're called DKIs or dynamic keyword insertion. And these things are very, very easy to use, and they've essentially been taking over Google Ads. And how they work is essentially, if we go into Google Ads, we have this little bracket thingy. It's not really a bracket. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sure someone can comment down below and let me know. I'm not an English major, so I don't know. But we put this little squiggly thing here. We hit keyword insertion, and then we're going to use essentially whatever headline we were going to use in the first place. So we could put local movers, and this is going to be our backup just in case this dynamic keyword insertion does not trigger. Make sure it's in sentence case. Title case doesn't look good, and lowercase doesn't look good either. We hit apply. And what this is going to do is it's going to generate headlines based off the actual keywords in our ad group. So say we had the actual keyword local HVAC installation. If someone were to type this and we had the dynamic keyword insertion in our headline, we could actually swap out that keyword with our headline in our actual ad, which is really amazing when it comes to actually targeting a whole bunch of different keywords simultaneously and not having to come up with a whole bunch of different headlines. I know it sounds a little bit complicated, but essentially whatever the customer was looking for, if you have that keyword in your ad group, your main headline here can be exactly that, which is great because it immediately reflects the customer's problem and it's going to give you a massive boost in click-through rates. And it also allows you to change so you can target a whole bunch of different keywords and you don't have to come up with all these different headlines and ad groups. It saves you so much time in here. So I highly, highly recommend dynamic keyword insertion. They're awesome. Now moving on to step number 2, and that is give reasons to buy. Once we've identified the customer's problem, that could be looking for a local mover, looking for an HVAC company, why are they actually going to pick us instead of the competition? And this could be as simple as 24/7 service, lifetime guarantee. There's a lot of reasons out there why someone wants to pick you, but it has to resonate resonate with the customer. If you're offering 24/7 service, everyone else also offers that, and it's not really important to the customer, that's not going to resonate with them, and you might want to instead replace it with something else. So here's a few examples of reasons to buy: licensed and insured, 5-star reviews, 20 years of experience, guaranteed results. There's so many you can come up with, and generally if you're running your own company, you probably know what these benefits are, and we just want to give more reasons to buy. It's pretty simple in that regard. Now, one thing I did want to mention is making sure that our ads reflect our keywords, and you probably already get this idea, and I've got an entire video on how to structure an account, but this is a very good idea when it comes to creating ads that reflect keywords and keywords that reflect ads, and essentially we want them as tightly knit as possible. And what this means is when someone searches for, let's say, pool installation, we have an ad that says pool installation. We want those two things very closely related together. And I've kind of said this in the video already, but we want it as closely related to the customer's problem as possible. This goes for the actual reasons to buy. So these actual reasons have to be relevant to pool installation. We don't care if you offer free, chlorine if you're installing a pool. We're not probably looking for that. What we are looking is probably for quick installation. We're looking for, 3-year guarantee or lifetime guarantee, stuff that really resonates. So we want the entire ad to reflect that keyword and essentially benefit the person looking for that. So please make sure whatever keyword you're going after, that ad really reflects it and is very useful to the other person on the screen. Now moving on to part 3, and that is creating a call to action. So we have essentially sold the customer, we have identified the problem, given them reasons to buy. What do we want them to do now? What can they expect? And this could be as simple as get a quote now, call us now for a free quote. And essentially all we're doing is allowing them to understand what happens next. This makes them feel a lot more comfortable as opposed to having no explanation as to what happens next. And it really does help with the customer journey, because once they go to your landing page or their website, they can then click on, get a quote, or maybe read a few more reasons to buy or some testimonials, whatever it is. And they have a very clear and concise buying journey, as opposed if they look at your ad and it just says, best HVAC company, and then they have to go to your website and then they have to look around for a contact us page. We want to provide a nice fluid journey all the way through, and then they can get a quote from you, they can call you, whatever you want to do, maybe provide an email. It's up to you. Like I said before with the actual examples here, they're very simple. Schedule an assessment, call now for a quote, get a quote now, get a free quote, whatever it is. We're just explaining to the person what happens next in this stage. And it's very simple. Most people forget to do this, and it will really hurt your ad if you don't implement this. And I do recommend implementing at least a few calls to action in every single ad. That way you can actually A/B test this and see which call to action works better, because some businesses and some customers, they just want to deal with people over the phone, or their customers just want to call you right now. Like if you have a HVAC emergency, chances are you don't want to submit an online form, you want to call someone. And maybe if you're doing a massive project pool installation, you want to submit an email form, you want to get a couple quotes, stuff like that. So you kind of have to figure out who your customer is. And another thing that's very important with calls to action, please make sure your ads reflect the actual landing page or website you're sending these people to, because if they're sold on this ad, you've given them reasons to buy, you've identified the problem, you've given a clear call to action, they're like, yes, I'm ready to call this person, and then they get to your website or a landing page and there's no call to action. They have to go through your website, try and find a contact us form or whatever it is. This is not good. This creates a large disconnect of what they used to believe and what they believe now. It's called cognitive dissonance, a little complicated stuff, but essentially most people have been there where they're like, okay, I'll click on this, and then that page provides absolutely no useful information to them, and then they leave. This is a massive cause for low conversion rates, so we really want that ad to also reflect the landing page and the landing page to reflect the ad. And this really helps with conversion rates. If you have an ad that essentially sums up the entire landing page, and then the landing page just allows the person to get in contact with you, it works wonderfully. And that's why here at Tradesman Digital Marketing, we're easily able to get conversion rates of anywhere from 20 to 40% for our customers. And it's a very good system. We know what works well and we know what doesn't work. And if you follow this process, it's going to make your ads and your life inside Google Ads a whole bunch easier. Now, there is one more step to this process, and that is to A/B test our ads. And I'm not going to provide every single detail here, as it's a little complicated for every single account, but normally I recommend using all the ads inside your ad group, and that's 3 ads. You're allowed to use 3 ads for every single ad group. This allows Google to A/B test as many headlines and descriptions as possible. I recommend using 15 out of 15 headlines, 4 to 4 descriptions, and I know that's a lot of stuff to come up with. Again, one of the reasons I created the Done For You bundle, just saves a little bit of time. But having this allows Google's AI to test and test and test and come up with really good headlines. And even if you're not good at headlines, chances are in month 1 or month 2, you're going to have really good click-through rates just because Google's AI was able to A/B test all of this. Now, you could make the argument that you can A/B test things quicker with less ads. Absolutely you can, but in my experience, most people who follow my videos just aren't going to take the time to do that, and I would rather be safe than sorry. And maybe you don't optimize as quickly, but you get there eventually. I would definitely recommend adding 3 out of 3 ads. It just makes life a little bit easier and provides a fail-safe for people who don't know everything about Google Ads. And once you figure out what ads are working and what ads aren't, and it's kind of simple to see this, you'll see one ad with a pretty good click-through rate, you'll see another ad with almost no click-through rate, and Google will generally stop running these ads because it knows it can get a better result. Once you start seeing this, you can generally get rid of that ad and just pause it. I wouldn't delete it entirely because then you can go back and look, and then all you have to do from there is multiply the winning ad out, change a few headlines, and A/B test it again. It's a pretty simple process, but most people aren't going to take the time to do that. But if you do take the time to do that, your click-through rate is going to skyrocket and you're going to have a much more successful account. Now, if you want to continue optimizing your account, you should definitely check out our Google Ads optimization checklist. It walks you through on what to do on a weekly, monthly, and 3-month basis. It also allows you to jot down your results inside Google Ads, which is great so you can see that you're making progress month over month and make sure your Google Ads account is actually being profitable for you and you're making sales. Now, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave a comment down below. I will do my best to answer it. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Take care, and I wish you all well.